It's kind of refreshing to see that even in the 1940s, this short showed the dangers of football players getting concussions with this climax of this star quarterback trying to make it down the field.
Wow, he's hit and hit hard.
It was nice that they were raising awareness that early.
You know, my actual opinion of the concussion stuff is you sign a waiver every single year to play the game. Get over it. That's it. I understand the risk. I am signing a waiver every single year that acknowledging that I could be paralyzed, I could be brain dead, I could die playing this game. Get over it. If you don't want to play, if you're worried about the concussions, don't play. Don't play.
Does that opinion extend just to NFL, or does it extend as far as college?
College, peewee, high school, parents are just responsible. If you understand the risk of it, when you sign that paperwork at the beginning of the school, at the beginning of the season, you negate all your worries. You don't get to have them. You don't get to have them. Like, oh, the concussions. Yes, if they're being irresponsible, then yes, absolutely. But it is part of the game. You have men crashing into each other full speed, as hard as it can. Will versus will. That is the game. You are signing up for the game. That's like signing up for the interstate and like being like, I'm upset that someone gets in a car accident. Like, no, or I'm upset that someone cut me off. Like, no, that you signed up for this when you signed up for it.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that. There's only one recreational activity that I'm aware of that somebody who is a layman has to sign away every time they go into it. And that would be scuba diving. I'm certified, so I know a little about that. And every time before I hit the water underneath, I sign in too. And listen, it's not just me and Huge Man over here, although I am graceful as hell in the water. I'll have you recognize.
I believe it.
You know, my wife, 5'5", and she has to sign the same waiver, and she's at the same risk. And actually, it could be argued that she looks more delicious underwater than I do. I don't know. I'm not the judgment of the shark in the shark.
Listen, you got a biased opinion, which is good though.
I mean,
she's your honey.
There's a reason why there's two kids. I wasn't going to take it that far, but I'll let you know. Let me introduce you another concept since we've gone down
Cheers to that.
Hey, my glass is empty, but it was an experience. Bing, there you go. And the last drop of Merlot was dead. So no, but another concept, and I wrote about this like 2 years ago now. The concussion protocol discussion is one that isn't new in the history of football. It goes back as far as Theodore Roosevelt bringing up the removal of the wedge formation and certain other practices in the game. A letter, by the way, I mean President Theodore Roosevelt, right? For those who missed that gap. And now, granted, at the time, because college football was way more big than professional football, he's talking to deans of universities about we need to keep football alive for the reasons of the structure and the teamwork and the camaraderie and the positive aspects that players learn, becoming learned men. Sure, they become athletes and Renaissance men, but being in that teamwork environment builds them as well. You know, you have early on that concept I'm telling you about removing the wedge. Then the next level up, I forget what the next concern is, but at some point they go from, leather helmets to harder helmets. They remove clotheslining from the game. They reduce contact downfield. I mean, listen, as much as I like Night Train Lane, would he have gotten as many interceptions if he could get away with being that physical down the field, right? And now it's evolved to, watching out for quarterbacks' legs, and now the concussion thing. I would submit, and I'm curious your opinion on it, dude. I would submit that this is the latest evolution of tackling another problem, your other expression. The only reason it went wrong is the Tagliabue administration opted to hide it. What do you think?
I just think there's people who don't know what they're talking about, making their opinion. They have too much push. I genuinely like some of the people that are pushing the legislation for all this stuff and the new wave. They've never played, and if they have played, they never played at a high level. Like I love hitting. Like the biggest thing that I miss from playing is hitting. Like. The will versus will, that's the best part of it. Like, you take that away, that's not the same game.
But it's not football anymore.
It's not football. If you start removing all, I get there's certain. I agree with protecting the quarterback. I agree because the quarterback's defenseless. If the quarterback can drop his shoulder into you, you should be able to hit him as hard as you want. But if the quarterback's standing there free floor, I don't think you should be able to hurt him.
Yeah,
I think you should be able to hit him. I think you should be able to hit him. He's signing up for that role, and if he gets beat, the linemen get beat. They get beat. You know what I'm saying? But like, I definitely think a lot of it comes down to people who don't know what they're talking about, making opinions, and they don't understand that. Like, at least for me, I knew what I was getting myself into when I signed up.
Mm-hmm.
I wholeheartedly, I take full responsibility for myself and my actions. And honestly, the men that come back later in life and start trying to sue the NFL for their brain problems, shame on them. They signed up. They signed up for it. And I understand that their lives are probably in a lot of turmoil and they're probably experiencing a lot of pain, and maybe that's insensitive of me. But you signed up for this game, and I'm sure when you were in that moment playing it, it was visceral and you were loving it every second of it. I was listening to a Tony Robbins podcast or something, and he was saying, you are a selfish asshole if you take all the good from something, or you take all the bad from something and you never acknowledge the good. Like, if you took all the benefits from your NFL career, you accepted them graciously, and then you come back in 20 years and start trying to sue them and ruin the sport because you have some problems, you're an asshole. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like, you signed up for this. Well, no one else forced you to sign that paperwork.
And the part that's being left out of that, and this could be a whole other episode. I think the part we're also leaving out there to that same extent is the NFLPA on the regular basis. And again, I'm talking out of my ass. You know better than me. On a regular basis, keeps collectively bargaining for money now, rather than trying to build funds for when they do get retired and have the retired players' action. So it's not just as simple as in my opinion, it's not just as simple as, hey, there's a lawsuit. I mean, you could have put this protection in place if you were worried about your future. And
yeah, absolutely.
And collectively bargaining, that hasn't happened yet. And another merit I want to give to your point about the waivers, parents are actually taking their kids out of football, and youth football numbers are down. They are voting as you suggest they should, and the numbers show it. And that gives credence to your point, I think.
I don't think kids should start tackle football until high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after I played tackle football since I was 7 years old, and I just really, it's unnecessary, especially after like studying youth development and stuff in sports and athletics. A lot of that stuff is completely unnecessary in their development. And something else is there's some 5-star recruits who didn't start playing football until high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been playing my whole life, and these guys come in, never played before in their life, and they're as good or they're better than me. So, like, that's testament to it's important to preserve your kids and to teach them how to use their body, like, really, really effectively, to use their nervous system, to be coordinated, to be mobile, to be multifaceted and, like, dynamic, so then when they do specialize in a sport, they're significantly better.
So if they treated it more like a martial art, playing football, and made their bodies a fine-tuned instrument rather than just smash or catch.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's an interesting point. I never thought.
Absolutely.
You don't think that the NFL has any responsibility into helping older, ailing players from the injuries they sustained?
I think to some degree, I think there's absolutely cases in which the NFL is responsible for taking care of the people. I honestly, genuinely believe the NFL, whatever the NFLPA, whatever they do, I don't really know. I barely can tell.
If I may, you came in after they negotiated 2-a-days out of training camp, so that is something big that they did do.
Okay. I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that.
Yes, sir. You're painting me as well. I'm just saying.
Well, no, 2 days. Okay, just put a towel down instead of a football. One of my biggest issues with NFL was the fact that there is very little to no guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is completely wrong. Genuinely, these men, speaking for myself, speaking for my teammates, speaking for the men that I've worked with and have relationships with, and how much I care for them, I know how much work goes into preparing. These men have wives and kids. Like, these men are like, they have real life responsibilities, and they're investing themselves into this, and they sign a contract, and then the NFL can just willy-nilly, the organization can willy-nilly just take all their money away from them. They can fine them outrageously for things. Like, if you're a minute late for something, you're like, it might be $1,000 fine. If you're 1 pound, every single pound that you are over your weight limit is a $500 to $600 fine. That is not okay. That's not okay.
Imagine going to work. You're 5 minutes late to 7-Eleven, and they charge you $1,000.
That's absolutely asinine, and it's outrageous, and it's because they're paying them so much. They're like, oh, I can take it from them. No, these men sacrifice what they're doing, what the value they're adding to your organization is invaluable. Without these players, your organization will not run. Point blank. Period. It will not happen. It will not happen, and you will not have. And if you start hiring, oh, I can hire anybody else who. And there's millions of people that want to do it. Yeah, they're going to come in and have shitty football.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened to the first round of the XFL, no question. That's literally what the other than a few technical issues too. Like the quality of the game was part of that. I think that's a fantastic point by you, to say the least. And there's a statement, if I can be bold enough once again to embarrass myself, the statement I like to make for those people that complain when players try to get theirs, like, oh, these millionaires. And I always ask the question for the people that complain about the millionaires, air quote, what about the billionaires that are signing their checks?
That's what I'm saying, though. Like it's a business model. Like, I can't stand the argument. Like it's an ignorant argument to say, why are the men who serve our country not getting paid as much as the NFL players who are just wearing helmets, like, to play a game? Like, it's a business model. It's a business model. I think that's literally it. These men in the NFL are bringing in billions of dollars, and they're only seeing a fraction of it. Like, that's the reality of the situation. The owners, the people who run the organizations, they're seeing all the money. The players, there's a salary cap. They've only have a allotted amount of money they can give to the players, regardless of how much money they bring in. They could be like way more lucrative that season, and they're still only going to divvy out whatever the percentage is. Is it like 10% or something ridiculous? I don't even know, but like, I know it's a low percentage. I don't know. It's still not fair.
It's really amazing when you think about the effect that American football has on our society. Hell, I mean, I'm sure there are Americans out there that when they hear the Star Spangled Banner, the first thing they think of is football.
Yeah, absolutely.